If your bank account hasn't seen a new deposit yet, keep watching because March 17th just changed everything for millions of Americans over 65. The IRS has officially confirmed that a new round of stimulus payments is rolling out, and the qualifications are tied directly to your Social Security status, your 2023 tax return, and your adjusted gross income. This isn't a rumor circulating on Facebook. This is straight from IRS official announcements, and the details matter more than most people realize. Here's what nobody is telling you clearly. Not every senior qualifies automatically. Your income bracket, your filing status, and whether you missed claiming the recovery rebate credit on your last return will determine if that money lands in your account or passes you by completely. If you're living on a fixed income, receiving SSI, SSDI, or standard Social Security retirement benefits, the IRS has a specific payment track built for you. But there's a deadline window that most seniors are missing entirely. Stay right here, because in the next few minutes, I'm breaking down exactly who qualifies, how much you can expect, and what to do right now if you haven't received your payment yet. So let's get into it, and I want you to really pay close attention here because this information is going to directly affect your wallet, your planning, and your peace of mind. The IRS has been quietly processing a specific batch of payments that fall under what they are calling the Recovery Rebate Credit Reconciliation process. Now that sounds like a mouthful, but let me break it down for you in plain English so there's zero confusion by the time we're done here. Back when the COVID-era stimulus payments were first distributed, we're talking about the first, second, and third rounds, millions of Americans either didn't receive the full amount they were owed, or they missed out entirely. Some people filed late, some people didn't file at all because their income was low enough that they weren't required to, some seniors were never properly notified that they qualified, and some folks simply didn't know they could claim the recovery rebate credit on their 2021 tax return to make up for those missed payments. The IRS has now gone back through their records, identified approximately 1 million taxpayers who fell into this exact situation, and they have committed to sending out those owed payments automatically. No new application required, no phone call needed, no complicated form to fill out. Now here's where March 17th becomes a date you want to circle on your calendar. The IRS announced that direct deposits began processing in January of this year, but the physical paper checks and the final wave of direct deposits, particularly for seniors who file jointly, those receiving SSI, and those whose banking information has changed, those are rolling out with a hard processing date of March 17th. That means if you are owed money and your information is on file correctly with the IRS, that payment is either already sitting in your account or it is on its way to you right now as you watch this video. The maximum payment amount for eligible individuals is up to $1,400, and for married couples filing jointly, that number can reach up to $2,800. So this is real money, and it deserves your full attention. But let's talk about who actually qualifies, because this is where the confusion starts, and where a lot of seniors end up feeling frustrated and lost. The IRS has been very specific about the eligibility criteria, and I want to walk you through each piece of it carefully. First and most importantly, you need to have filed a 2021 federal income tax return. That is the key year here, 2021. If you filed that return and you either left the recovery rebate credit line blank or you entered zero when you actually were owed a credit, you are likely in the group that the IRS has already flagged for an automatic payment. You don't need to do anything new. The IRS is handling that correction on their end. Now, for seniors who did not file a 2021 tax return because your income was below the filing threshold, and this applies to a large portion of folks living exclusively on Social Security, the situation is a little different, and I don't want you to panic when I say this. If you didn't file in 2021 because you didn't have to, there is still a window of time to submit what is called a simplified return or a late return to claim any credit you are owed. The IRS extended certain provisions specifically to make sure low-income seniors were not left out of this process. The deadline for filing a late 2021 return and still being eligible to receive this payment is April 15th of this year. So if you are sitting there right now thinking you missed the boat, you have not. But you do need to act before that April deadline, and we'll talk about exactly how to do that in just a moment. Let's also address something that a lot of people are getting confused about online right now, and that is the difference between this IRS recovery rebate credit payment and a brand new round of stimulus checks. They are not the same thing, and I want to be completely honest with you about that because there is a lot of misinformation floating around social media right now, and I refuse to be a part of spreading that. What is happening in March is not Congress approving a fresh stimulus bill. What is happening is the IRS completing unfinished business from the pandemic-era payments that were already approved and funded years ago. The money was always owed to you. The IRS just took this long to reconcile their records and get it out the door. So when you see headlines or videos screaming about brand new stimulus checks being approved, be skeptical. What is real and confirmed is this recovery rebate credit payment, and it is absolutely legitimate. Now let's talk about the income limits because this matters for determining your eligibility, and I want to give you the actual numbers so you know exactly where you stand. For single filers, the full payment was available to anyone with an adjusted gross income of $75,000 or less in the tax year in question. For married couples filing jointly, that threshold was $150,000. If your income was above those numbers, the payment amount began to phase out, meaning you might still receive a partial payment depending on how far above the threshold you were. For most seniors living on Social Security income alone, or with modest additional retirement income, you almost certainly fall well within the qualifying range. Social Security benefits are counted differently depending on whether you also have other income sources. So if you are unsure about your adjusted gross income from 2021, your best resource is to pull up your 2021 tax return or call your tax preparer and ask them to walk you through your AGI from that year. Here is something else I want you to understand, and this is a point that so many people overlook. If you are currently receiving Social Security retirement benefits, Supplemental Security Income, which is SSI, or Social Security Disability Insurance, which is SSDI, you were already identified by the IRS as a priority group for these payments. During the original stimulus rollouts, the Social Security Administration shared non-tax filer data with the IRS specifically so that people who don't typically file returns could still receive their payments automatically. However, the system was not perfect. There were errors, duplications, outdated addresses, and banking information that didn't match. That is part of why we are in this situation now, with the IRS having to go back and clean up the discrepancies. If you received a letter from the IRS at any point in the last year referencing your 2021 recovery rebate credit, that letter was their way of telling you that something was flagged on your account. A lot of seniors received those letters and either threw them away thinking it was junk mail or got scared and set them aside. If you still have that letter, hold on to it. It is important documentation. Let's also spend a moment talking about what happens if your direct deposit information with the IRS is outdated. This is one of the most common reasons payments get delayed or returned. If you change bank accounts, switched banks, or closed an old account since you last filed with the IRS, your payment may have bounced back. When that happens, the IRS automatically converts the payment to a paper check and mails it to the last address they have on file for you. This process adds several weeks to your timeline, which is why some people in your neighborhood may have already received their money while you are still waiting. If you believe your banking information on file with the IRS is outdated, you can update it using the IRS Get My Payment tool on the official IRS website, which is irs.gov. I want to say that clearly, irs.gov, because there are scam websites out there with very similar names designed to steal your personal information, and seniors are unfortunately the #1 target for those kinds of scams. Speaking of scams, I need to pause here and talk about this directly, because it is a serious issue, and I would not be doing my job if I didn't address it. Anytime the government announces a payment program, scammers immediately start calling, texting, and emailing people pretending to be the IRS. Let me tell you something that is absolutely true and that the IRS itself confirms. The IRS will never call you on the phone and ask for your Social Security number, your bank account information, or any kind of fee to release your payment. That is not how the IRS operates. If you receive a phone call from someone claiming to be an IRS agent who says you need to verify your information or pay a processing fee to get your stimulus payment, hang up immediately. It is a scam, 100% of the time. The real IRS communicates through official mail sent to your address on file, and they will never demand immediate payment over the phone or via gift cards. And yes, people are still falling for the gift card scam in 2025, so please share this information with your family members and friends. Now let's get practical and talk about what you should actually do right now depending on your situation. If you already filed a 2021 tax return and you believe you may have missed claiming the recovery rebate credit, do not file an amended return right now. The IRS has specifically asked people not to do that because it slows down their processing and can actually delay your payment. The IRS is handling those corrections automatically. What you should do is check the status of your payment using the Where's My Refund tool or the Get My Payment tool on irs.gov. You can also call the IRS helpline at 1-800-829-1040. Though wait times can be long, so calling early in the morning on weekdays gives you the best chance of getting through quickly. If you have not yet filed your 2021 tax return and you believe you may qualify for the recovery rebate credit, you need to take action before April 15th. You can file a late return for free using the IRS Free File program if your income is below a certain threshold, and for most seniors on Social Security, you will qualify for free filing. The VITA program, which stands for Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, is another incredible resource that many seniors don't know about. VITA provides free tax preparation help from IRS-certified volunteers, and they have locations all across the country, including community centers, libraries, and senior centers. To find a VITA location near you, you can visit irs.gov and search for VITA, or call 1-800-906-9887. These volunteers specifically know how to handle situations involving Social Security income, recovery rebate credits, and late filings, so you will be in good hands. Now, I also want to address the question that I know is sitting in the back of your mind right now, and that is whether receiving this payment will affect your Social Security benefits or your Medicare. The short answer is no. Stimulus payments and recovery rebate credits are not considered income for Social Security purposes. Receiving this payment will not reduce your monthly Social Security check, it will not affect your Medicare Part B or Part D premiums, and it will not push you over any income threshold that would impact your benefits. For people receiving SSI specifically, the Social Security Administration has historically given recipients a grace period of several months before a stimulus payment is counted as a resource for SSI purposes, so even for those on the strictest income and asset limits, there is typically time to spend or save that payment before it could theoretically affect anything. But again, for the vast majority of seniors watching this payment is clean, tax-free money that is simply yours to keep. Let me also touch on what happens if someone you know has passed away but may have been owed one of these payments. The IRS has guidelines around this as well. In most cases, if a taxpayer died after the relevant tax year but before receiving their payment, a surviving spouse or the executor of their estate may be eligible to claim that credit on their behalf through the proper filing process. This is a situation where working with a tax professional or a VITA volunteer is especially helpful because the rules around deceased taxpayer claims can be complicated, and you want to make sure everything is handled correctly so the family receives what they are owed. Here is the bottom line that I want you to walk away from this video understanding completely. This is real money that the IRS has confirmed is going out. It is not a scam, it is not political theater, and it is not something that only applies to people in certain states or certain income brackets. If you are a senior who filed a 2021 tax return and missed the recovery rebate credit, your payment may already be processing. If you never filed a 2021 return because you weren't required to, you still have time to act before April 15th. If your bank information is outdated, update it now so your payment doesn't get lost. And if anyone calls you asking for personal information or a fee to release this payment, put the phone down and walk away. You have worked your whole life and paid into this system. This money belongs to you. The IRS is not doing you a favor. They are finally delivering what you were already owed. And the best thing you can do right now is stay informed, stay cautious about scams, and take the simple steps we've laid out today to make sure you don't miss a single dollar of what is rightfully yours.